Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this year's edition of Hope Street Poets. This is those of you who've come here over the last few years will know that this is an annual moment. It's the long evening of poetry, and we call it, there's always been a certain degree of surprise about the title. People want to know why it's called Hope Street Poets. At one level, it's simply meant as a marker of neighborhood and a way of reviving local histories that might have now been lost. This L-shaped street was originally called Hope Street. It's now called David Sassoon Library Mark. And it's to some of us, at least, it's important to recall these resonances from an earlier age. And there's always that aura around the word hope, which keeps most of us going, certainly poets. And it's really a pleasure and a privilege to have 18 practitioners together, reading across this evening in 3 sessions. And we have 4 languages represented, Bengali, Marathi, Gujarati, and English. And also what we've tried to do with every edition of Hope Street is to have a mix of people who live here and who come in from elsewhere. So this year there are 8 poets who live in Bombay, and then there are 10 poets who come in from, we're very happy, appreciate the fact that you've made the time to be with us, from Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, New Bombay, Thane, and Siliguri in the hills. So welcome, all of you, and thank you all for being here this evening. And I'm going to now turn this over to Sampurna Chattarji, who will moderate session 1. Sampurna.
Thank you, Ranjit. The recurrence, the pleasurable recurrences, Hope Street is one of those. It's my very great pleasure to begin the evening. I'd like to invite the poets who are reading in the first set onto the stage, and I'll call them out. There's Prabodh Parekh, who is going to lead the set. There's Michael Crieghton. I will introduce them separately just before they read their sets. There's Subhro Bandopadhyay, Shumona Roy, Priya Sarukhai Chabria, and I will at some point play a double role where I will switch over from being moderator to being a reader. Thank you all for being here. And we'd like to start right away by inviting Prabodh to read. For those of you who are familiar with him, with his work, you'd know that he's a Gujarati poet based right here in Bombay, writes short fiction, is also a visual artist. Varied interests of specialization range from Buddhist philosophy to contemporary Indian arts and aesthetics. Poetry and fiction has been translated into Bangla, English, Hindi, Marathi, Punjabi, and published widely. Prabodh, please start off the set.
Namaskar. There's a very fine expression in Gujarati called Horinu Nariyer, which means one who begins is the one who breaks, kind of thing. Long time ago, I had written a poem, long time ago, 3-line poem, and I was going to improvise on that poem to start with. The poem was, in Gujarati, it goes like this, terribly simple. Vyakaran vinani saaj, kevi akri hoy છે. બધા રંગો જોઈ શકો, પણ કોઈ નામ ના આપી શકો. So it translates something like this, that an evening without grammar is a terrifying thing, because you see all the colors but can't name any. I was going to improvise on that. Prabodh Parekh's evening at 5, what an evening without an audience, But here we are, so I'm taking back that poem. In order to make sure that I'm still writing poetry to my few fellow poets and to my neighbors, I'm reading one which I wrote last month. which is after 14 years, so I think I'm doing all right. This is a short poem which is my tribute to a fellow Gujarati poet who passed away last year at the age of 80. I spent 2 years making one of a film on him, and then I wrote this poem. It begins with a small quotation from his own poem, and then I'll read the Gujarati poem. Che, આરંભથી જ છે ત્યાં છે. It is from the very beginning where it was, it is. My poem goes like this. Nathi, nathi sukh, nathi dukh, nathi nadi ke akash, nathi ghar, nathi baal, nathi pida, nathi leela, nathi jhaad ke paan, nathi hoon, nathi tame, nathi saach ke sawar, nathi roop ke nathi rang, nathi काम, nathi राम, nathi नाच, nathi गान के भान, nathi ત્યાં, nathi અહીં, nathi आवन, nathi जावन, nathi रावण, nathi હું, nathi તમે, nathi કોઈ, nathi तिथि के अतिथि, nathi હું, nathi તમે. Let me go back to Labshankar's poem. Che, આરંભથી જ છે ત્યાં છે. This is my tribute to poet Labshankar Thakur. Of course, the best way to get away when you are on the stage as a poet is to read those poems which have worked before. But of course, you're going wrong because you're not the same person and you're reading the same poems. Quite a paradox, a miracle. And of course, a senior citizen gets 30% discount anyway. So here are some of my favorite poems that I've written. 4 short poems. Do we have time? Okay. Okay. I'll first read these poems in the translations done by friend Abhay Sardesai. Almost all my poems are translated by Ranjit Hoskote and Naushil Mehta, but I'm reading Abhay's poems for this evening. There is this one possibility about your lips. For always. They arrive and depart, and they open, as if they were made specially for entering. The other possibility is you, yourself. You begin as an incarnation of an impossible event, moving about as if you were a human and I were to touch you, scold you and devastate you through and through. But like a ghost, you take hold of my heart, of my body, every nerve and science of myself. Either you are a sorcerer or else a witch. Or you are a friend, or maybe the absent one. This possibility has always led me to a blindness to consume you entirely and to be charmed in the fires of my longing, to be pounded, to be blown about, to separate myself from myself, to be sundered. This possibility, you always too. There is this thought which takes me to you. In between, it swallows me up. It devours at first, and then it destroys homes, and then the trees and the leaf and the land and the people, and then the hands and the feet. It feasts on. There is this dream about your breast, intimately familiar and sucked from again and again. They slip suddenly from the mouth, at first in the morning, and then in the evening, and then all around. They start wilting, they sag. There is this desire that I may hide myself completely in you. 3. Whatever is incomplete. Even the sunbeams don't spill till the very end. Even the birds don't sing till the audience breaks into an applause. Whatever it was, till now in the heart, in the middle of the breast, in the center of the pupil, in the palm, and in the mouth, sucking on the big toes, even that is destroyed and burnt out. Whatever was found, whatever I came upon, became a rising wave of the wind in everyone's ears. It becomes the road and blossoms, and even this has gone scattered, has become water and has spread out. 4. Not till there, but till here. Come, penetrate my heart through and through. Pierce and pluck the remaining traces. Not till here. Go all the way. Annihilate the earth, the fire, the sky. Obliterate the touch, the smell, and the form. Not here, not there, but spread yourself everywhere. Come running from everywhere till the very end. I'll just read 4 original Gujarati poems, and that should be the. એક શક્યતા હોય છે તારા હોઠની હંમેશા, જે ખુલતા હોય છે, આવતા જતા હોય છે, અને જાણે પ્રવેશવા માટે જ હોય છે. બીજી તું એક અશક્ય ઘટના બનીને અવતરે, પછી હાલે ચાલે માણસોની જેમ તને સ્પર્શું કે વઢું કે ખેદાન મેદાન કરી નાખું તો પણ ભૂત બનીને સવાર થઈ જાય મનમાં, શરીરના અંગે અંગમાં. કાં તો તું જાદુગર, કાં તો તું ચુડેલ, કે પછી સખી, કે પછી ગેરહાજર. એક શક્યતા હોય છે હંમેશા અંધાપો લાવી દેતી, આખી બસ તને ભરખી જવા ઝંખનાના તાપમાં બારી દેતી, ચૂરે ચૂરા કરી ફંગોરથી જાતને વિખૂટા પાડીને વાળી લેતી. એક શક્યતા તું હંમેશા. 2. એક વિચાર છે મને તારા સુધી લઈ જતો, જો કે વચમાં જ ભરખી જતો. પહેલા આકાશ, પછી ઘર, પછી ઝાડ પાન દેશ અને વેશ, પછી હાથ અને પગ હડપી લેતો. એક સ્વપ્ન છે તારા સ્તનોનું, જાણીતા, ફરી પીધેલા, જો કે વચમાં સરકી જતા. પહેલા સવારે, પછી સાંજે, પછી ચારે પાસ વરી જતા, લટકી જતા. એક ઝંખના છે તારામાં સંતાઈ જવાની. 3. જે કંઈ છે તે અધૂરું, તડકો પણ ઢોળાય નહીં છેક સુધી, પંખી પણ છેક સુધી, સભાખંડો ગાજી ઉઠે ત્યાં સુધી. હજુ હમણાં જ જે અંતરમાં હતું, સ્તનોની વચ્ચોવચ્ચ, કીકીની મધ્યમાં, હથેળીમાં, હોઠમાં, પગના અંગૂઠાને ચૂસતું, તે હોમાઈ જાય, તણાઈ જાય કારમુખા મોંમાં. જે કંઈ આવી મળ્યું તે જ ચાલી જાય, વેરાઈ જાય, પાણી બની પ્રસરી જાય. જે કંઈ છે તે બસ આવું ક્ષણે ક્ષણે ફૂટી જતું. 4. ત્યાં સુધી નહીં, અહીં સુધી આવ, ઉતરી જા અંતરની આરપાર, વીંધી નાખ રહ્યા છે આ નિશાનો. અહીં સુધી નહીં, છેક સુધી આવ, તોડી નાખ, ફોડી નાખ આકાશને, અગ્નિને, માટીને, રૂપ, ગંધ, સ્પર્શને ભૂંસી નાખ. અહીં નહીં, ત્યાં નહીં, બધે જ ફેલાઈ જા. દોડી આવ, અહીં સુધી આવ, છેક સુધી આવ, અહીં આવ. એક શક્યતા હોય છે હંમેશા તારા હોવાની. આભાર. Okay. One more? Okay, one more. This is a poem that I dedicated to Meda Patkar. From since then, Gujarat has 7 enemies. I'm one of them. I hope you make sense of that. Mallika Sarabhai is another, and Prabodh Parikh is one. But I'm going to read a poem with which I'll end, which, as I said, always reads well, because it can be sung. I mean, me singing sounds good. Because I've written all my poems, all my life, only as prose poems. So here is one poem to tell the world I can do some other things. This is 1974, when I returned from the US after 5 years of studies. And this is what I wrote, which is my way of remembering the fact that once upon a time I was a child. It is called Jagaran Stotra. જે જાગીને આવ્યો છે, જે જાગીને આવ્યો છે, ઉડીને ડૂબીને કૂદીને વાણના હલેસા ઉલેચીને ફર્યો છે પોતાની પાસે, એના જાગરણનું શું? જે જાગીને આવ્યો છે, ઉડીને ઉડ્યો છે, ડૂબીને ડૂબ્યો છે, મૂઈને મૂઓ છે, કૂદીને કૂદ્યો છે, એના જાગરણનું શું? તે પુપુના અકર્મી દાદાનું, મનુષ્યનું લાકડીને ઠપકારતા ટાયરેશિયસનું શું? જે જીપ્સી ગામના બંદરે લંગારી ફર્યો છે પોતાની પાસે, ચંદ્રલોકની ચદ્દી પહેરી કુવાઓ ખોદી નિક્સનનું નાક ચડાવી, દુકાનો છોડી ફર્યો છે પોતાની પાસે, ઉડ્યો છે, કૂદ્યો છે, ડૂબ્યો છે, એના જાગરણનું શું? નમઃ જાગરણ, નમઃ શાંતિ, શાંતિ ઓમ શાંતિ, માતેલી રાતેલી પણ ખૂણામાં ફફડતી શાંતિ. ચલો સારું થયું પાછું આવ્યાની ગૃહ શાંતિ, પણ એટલું ધ્યાનમાં રાખજો, જે ઉડીને ઉડ્યો છે, મૂઈને મો છે, એના જાગરણનું શું? And then you can improvise on that. I mean,
Thank you so much for opening this evening so magically and lyrically, powerfully and passionately. Our next poet of the evening is Michael Crieghton from Delhi, believably from Delhi, but really from further away. I've known him for several years. He's a middle school teacher and a library movement activist. He's lived in Delhi since 2005. His poetry has been published in a variety of places, including Wasafari, the Mint Lounge, the Asian Age, and the Four Quarters magazine. And he has been a featured performer at the Poetry with Prakriti Festival and Jeeta his very popular Poetry at Toddy series. Michael, welcome to Hope Street.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So thanks so much for inviting me. I'm really glad to be here in Bombay. I brought you 5 love songs from New Delhi. I brought you something I picked up in the French Quarter, and then a small little tribute to my favorite Bombay poet. So, number 1, New Delhi love song. Smog and dust mix with the air in New Delhi. I buy jasmine for her hair in New Delhi. People come from everywhere to this city. All are welcomed with a stare in New Delhi. The finest things in life don't come without danger. Eat the street food if you dare in New Delhi. We push in line and fight all day for each rupee. Who can say what's really fair in New Delhi? There is nothing you can't find in our markets. There is nothing you can't find in our markets. Socks and dreams sell by the pair in New Delhi. So many families on the street through the winter. Sometimes good men forget to care in New Delhi. Friends ask Michael, why'd you leave your own country? I found jasmine for her here in New Delhi. Okay. So, New Delhi once had a bus rapid transit center. I saw it get built and I saw it get torn down, and I'm not going to go into it. I liked it, and I was one of the few people who were willing to say that out loud. In the early days of the BRT, I'll never forget that 522 we waved down on Kalegown just as it started to pour. Seeing me in my soaked shirt and you in your bright red dress, blue scarf, wet sneakers, the only woman on that bus. The conductor gave us his seat and several men smiled and stared through the crooks in their arms. But by Ring Road, all eyes had turned outward. In that September rain, Delhi's light shimmered like your long glass earrings, and a film of oil rose to the top of the tarmac, leaving the road a pigeon-necked green. At the Mulchin flyover, the driver turned up the volume and an old song blared through the radio tinny's speakers. Today the weather is faithless, there's a typhoon on the way. Then the bus lane cleared and we all sped south, watching the stream of cars barely moving below us. So you could look at this as actually a study of Anala, but I prefer to think of it as a love song by the Yamuna to her suitor in the end, but you can do what you want with it. Meeting. What feeds this long ribbon? Clean rain, crooked rows of brick and tarp, the ancient unruled quarters, Chiragdili, Kotlagaon, Shapurjat, a thin flow at Senek Farms by Sheikh Sarai, it is fat and ripe. Before dawn, shapes squat on these banks. By noon, pigs splash and root in the shallows. Above, boys sort trash and throw stones at dogs. Downstream, strong men strip off their shirts and bathe in a leaky main spray. In today's grimy sky, the evening sun glows like an electric tangerine, and wood smoke from campfires covers the scent of swamp gas and sewer. Sometime tonight, this slow current will join something larger. Somewhere, an old woman will sing an old song. After so long, the moonlit night has come. After so long, this meeting. On the Badapur border, we take the violet line as far south as it will carry us and start walking into the borderlands. You tell me you are looking for a language with which to speak of this place and others like it, but I have little to offer. I'm not even sure what state we are in now, and when you ask, I can tell you neither the name nor the source of that dark pool that rests there between hard ground and between worn bricks and hard ground. It hasn't rained for days, so I suspect it is fed by one of the small drains that run through the jumble of shacks that line this road. But we're not close enough to smell it, so I can't be sure. There are mysteries in this land between city and sprawl that would take much digging to uncover. The origin of the cluster of well-built flats we passed through just now, or how much of the green and brown hillside near the railway tracks is trash, and how much is soil, whether we should name it landscape or landfill. Of course, there are things I'm more confident of. I'd call that ox cart an ox cart, and that auto an auto. And from their lean and smiles, I'd call the pair of straight-backed men that just pedaled past us friends. In the end, so much depends on us. We'd agree that the rows of new and used bicycle wheels hanging outside that shop are cycle wheels. But while they remind me of a cycle mechanic I once loved in Portland, for you they will conjure something different and perhaps even more beautiful. I don't ask you about the fine dust that floats all around us, but to me it tastes like grief and home. And as for the smoke that hangs between us now, it is a ritual. But what I don't tell you is that for me it is also a prayer, like the point in the Mass where the priest says, "Pray, my brothers and sisters, that our sacrifice might be acceptable." Okay, the last quick love song from New Delhi is just because the weather is changing very soon. It's February and we know it's coming, stirring. We threw open the windows last week and now morning sweat sprouts on the brows of city cyclists. The calendar says spring, but where I come from, we call this summer, and you know we have no word for what comes next. Give me a cool breeze, a ceiling fan and a cold drink at dark. Listen to the road shake under the rush of night trucks. The lazy dogs are stirring now, and the moon is high and bright as any moon where the air doesn't carry the weight of so much smoke. Let's go find something good, my love. Let's walk until we reach new ground. All right, so I had to bring this from the French Quarter because I kind of felt like there must be a connection between the French Quarter and Calagora, this kind of arts district. I'm not sure what it is. And I was going to say something about John Berger, but I'm going to leave. So this is just, this is frame. The frame changes as you move out from the 6 men and 1 young boy blasting out blues on the corner of Decatur and St. Philip to the very same band being filmed by a crowd holding smartphones and Go Cups. And from that wide angle, the only thing that seems real is the way the boom dart and sway cuts through the warm damp. And that's almost enough to hold us, but not quite. So I drop $1 and we move on. Is a photograph theft if you drop $1 in the bucket? I don't know, and I don't carry a camera, but if I did, I'd have taken a photo of the man taking a photo of the man sprawled sleeping in the slant of the 7 p.m. sun. The grass was tall, and a cool breeze was blowing just 10 yards there from the Mississippi. The man with the camera crouched close to get a good shot, close enough to smell if it was gin or rum, or just a hard day's work that had put this friend to rest. The last one is just because it's Bombay, and so I felt like I guess I read a lot of poetry, but I just can just say, I hope I don't make anybody feel bad. My favorite Bombay poet is Kalatkar, and I read Jajuri for years over and over again, and then recently other things. I won't, but so sometimes I feel like I'm almost hearing him in my head, and sometimes even I feel like I'm talking to him. This is not one of those times exactly, but it just felt like. So if you've read An Old Woman, then you'll recognize a few of the references. If not, it is what it is. An Old Woman after Kalatkar. There's a purpose behind our choosing which stories we conjure or board, like this train rushing south through the flatlands, or the bus we pass heading north. I'm just a common magician, hiding balls under fast-moving cups. You'll see what I choose to show you. My tools are omission and flux. What's under the cup I'm not showing. I can't say, but I do know this much. I have seen the temple walls fracture and boulders break into sand. I have heard the falling skies clatter. I'm reduced to small change in her hand. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Michael. For those Bombayites who've chosen often to hate Delhi, you've made us appreciate the fact that it is possible to look at and live in and love that city. Thank you for that. Our next poet is Subhro Bandopadhyay, also, as it happens, from Delhi, but born in Kolkata, who published his very first chapbook in 2000. Since then, he's published 5. This bio is now out of date because he has with him his very latest and his 5th poetry collection called Ritu Diprohor. The interesting thing about Subhro is that as a Probashi Bengali, he also inhabits other languages. And I think one of the homes that is most intimate to him, apart from Bangla, is Spanish. He has received many prestigious awards from the government of Spain, among them the Antonio Machado Poetry Fellowship. His books have been translated into Spanish. He's spoken and performed at many poetry festivals, and he teaches Spanish at the Institute Cervantes in New Delhi. Subhro, all yours.
First of all, thank you, Kalakhoda, for this lovely invitation. And thank you, Ranjit, for everything, for these translations and for this invitation. Well, I'll start reading, as he reminded me of Delhi, I'll start reading from a series called Glass Pronouns. I'll read them first in Bangla. I must tell something about this. When I moved to Delhi in 2010, for me, Delhi is a desert. It doesn't rain there at all. Although he described the city as a rainy city, but I grew up in rainy North Bengal, so for me, Delhi is a desert. It hardly rains there. You can find a line here, it's called, you'll find it there. I'll read first in Bangla, then I'll read it in English. কাচের সর্বনাম। এপ্রিলের গায়ে বিধে রয়েছিস ভাঙা গান, সহর্ষ কাচ এই সকালের পতনশীল প্রস্তরতা তোকে মুক্ত করে গন্ধে, যা আসলে ভাত ফোটা। এর ফাঁকে বিস্তৃত সূর্যোদয়ের দাগ বরাবর সুর তৈরি হয়, বেঁকে ধাতব বিন্যাস জাগলে ন্যাড়া গাছে চিবুকের ছায়া মাংসখণ্ড ছুঁড়ে দেয় কার দিকে? কেন বারবার অস্থায়ী শিবির লক্ষ্য করে ব্লেডের পালো করে বিলা বলে তীব্র হলুদের গায়ে বাঁধা থাকে? জানিয়ে দিস পুরনো গানগুলো কি আজ একলা পড়ার চিঠি হতে পারল? You are a broken song nailed to the body of April. This rocky fall of morning is shivered glass, liberating you to a fragrance of boiling rice. A tune is born on the line of dawn when a metallic trunk of a leafless tree grows violently. Can the shadow of my cheek still offer flesh? To whom? Why do the fletched blades fly towards refugee camps? The time cuddles on the yellow of classical music. Tell me, the old songs are now letters to be read alone? কাচের সর্বনাম 2। অথচ এইভাবে তুই নীল এক টুকরো বকুল হতে পারতিস। প্রাচীন তীর্থের পাশে ম্লান একটা কাপড়ের দিকে তোর ওই নির্মিত চলনগুচ্ছ বারবার কাঁচের মেঘে মিলিয়ে যায় দৃশ্যত রঙিন। পুরনো ভাষা সাদা ফুলের স্তব্ধতায় যে বিকেল ভেসে রইল, সে কি একটা নিক্কণ মাত্র? গড়ানো উপত্যকায় ভেড়ার চলনে পাওয়া গোল ঘণ্টাধ্বনি কি এই অপেক্ষা? এপ্রিলের গায়ে বিঁধে রয়েছিস ভাঙা গান। You could have been a blue bokul sometime. You designed trade path towards the pilgrim's pale robe, vanishes into a glass cloud, colored. It is the ancient language that breaks the silence of a white flower, the evening that remained floating. Is it the sound of your anklet? Is this awaiting the rounded vibration of cowbells in a valley? You are a broken song nailed to the body of April. Thank you. তোর গানের কাছ জমে ওঠে বাতাসে শুষ্ক বীজ। নদীর সহজ ধাপে নেমে গেছি পুরনো ভাষার দিকে, যেভাবে অবগাহন। অশ্রুত শব্দকে আমরা বৃষ্টি বলি এ শহরে। বাদামি আলোয় পুঞ্জ হয়ে থাকে বাড়ি ফেরা, ধুলোয় জমাট পিয়ানোর ধ্বনি না শোনার দীর্ঘদিন স্তম্ভ করে রেখেছে সুর। লং প্লে বসন্ত মানে তো নরম শচীনদেব, সুরে পরিচয় একটু দূরে ভ্রষ্ট করে দিবি তুই। অথচ এইভাবে তুই নীল এক টুকরো বকুল হতে পারতিস। The glass from your songs float, some dry seeds in the air. I went down a riverbank towards the used language, simple as an easy bath. Every unheard sound is named rain in this city. Brown lights surround my homecoming. The dusty sound of a piano that creates a column from the days without music. Long play spring means S.D. Burman, doesn't it? You are going to break it violently. It could have been a blue bokul leaf sometime. সময় আছে? This series is called, this book is called in Bangla Chitabak Shohor, in English it should be Leopard City. This book was written in a residency program in Spain, and all these poems are about a small town in northern Spain, a small town called Soria. It's a hilly small town. It reminded me many times of Shiliguri, many times of mostly Karshang than any other places. উপত্যকাময় ছিল আমাদের গোধূলি। কাচের কবিতা নিয়ে একটানা বৃষ্টিতে হাঁটছিলাম, আর সেই কবে পড়ে গেছি আমি প্রাচীন ভাস্করের অন্তর্গর্তে। বেরিয়ে ফিরে এসে দেখছেন মৃত সন্তান প্রসব করেছে সঙ্গিনী, রক্তে ভেসে যাচ্ছে ধাতব যোনি। আমার কানে কানে বললেন, প্রাচীন মানুষেরা যখন একটা মাথা, একটা পুরুষ বা নারীতে অভ্যস্ত নয়, তখন তারা আবিষ্কার করে ফেলেছিল উনুন, আর খাবারে ঢুকে পড়ল ধূসরিমা। তারপর থেকে লিরিকের দেহে চোরাগোপ্তা ব্লেড, আস্তানা বদল, আক্রমণ, প্রতিরক্ষা, ভূমি, সন্তান, বীজ, আর কিছুদিন বাদে গ্রাম পালানো নতুন ভূখণ্ড। প্রথম সমুদ্র দেখার পর আদিম মানুষ কি ভেবেছিল? একটাও রেখা মানচিত্র যখন তৈরি হয়নি। রোমানিয়া থেকে আসা আকর্দিয়ন বাদকের অন্ধকারে সুর হয়ে যাচ্ছে গোটা চৌরাস্তা, গ্রীষ্মে উজ্জ্বল মেয়েদের হাঁটু। এই সব দৃশ্য থেকে টুকরো কেটে নিয়ে গর্ভের মধ্যে জাগিয়ে রাখা রোদ পোহানো সমেত গোটা শহর এখন একটা মহাকাশ যান। মুখে শিকার ঝুলিয়ে ধীর চিতা কোথায় চলেছে? Our evenings were full of valleys. While walking with the glass poems through the rain, I don't know when I fell into the life of an old sculptor. On arriving from a distant country, he discovers that his wife has given birth to a stillborn. Her metallic vagina. He whispers into my ears, when the wild man was not accustomed to one woman or one man, he discovered the oven, and the grey has entered the food. After this, we find blades in the lyric. Afterwards came the moving away, the attack, the defense, the land, the offspring, the seed, running away from the village until getting into a new place. What did man think when he saw the sea for the first time? In the darkness of the Romanian accordionist, the plaza transformed into harmony. Summer shines on the knees of women and breaks pieces of these images, while with sunbathing in the belly, the entire city is already a spaceship. Where does the leopard go with its hunt hanging from its mouth? Thank you. শহরের প্রাচীন অঞ্চল আসলে বৃদ্ধ মানুষের মস্তিষ্ক। ক্রমশ পেঁচানো দেশ, জাতীয়তা, গলি। নাদির শাহের পাশে জ্বলছে শাহী দিল্লি, সান্তো দোমিঙ্গো গির্জা। দূর ক্যারিবিয়ানে তখনও পৌঁছয়নি স্পেনীয় জাহাজ। সামনে দিয়ে আসছে বাজার, গৃহযুদ্ধ ফেরত গুয়াতেমালার মেয়েটা। এরপর নিজেদের দিকে তাকাই। রুক্ষ চিন্তারেখা বরাবর গজিয়েছে সাইপ্রেস, রুগ্ন বালকের পাশে উজ্জ্বল নার্স গ্রীষ্মকাল। আমি খুলে রাখছি কবিতার শেষ দরজাগুলো। আমরা, ভয়, ছেঁড়া ফাটা ভেলার মতো নৌকা, তাতে ভেসে আসা জ্যান্ত দেশ পারাপার মৃতদেহ। সমস্ত অক্ষরগুলো লোহিতপ্ত হয়ে উঠছে। স্তব্ধতার পেটের উপর নেমে আসছে ছাই বৃষ্টি। পাইনের পাশে লকলকে রাত্রির মদ ও বাগান। আমাদের কাঁটাওলা ম্যাপ বইয়ের কোথায় যায়? This poem was dedicated to 12 African refugees who were trying to escape the African border to reach the Spanish coast on the shores of Canary Islands. The old town is actually like an old man's brain. Countries, nationalities, lanes and alleys entwine. Sultani Delhi is burning in front of Nadir Shah, the Santo Domingo Church. Spanish ships still have not arrived in the Caribbean. A Guatemalan girl returns from the marketplace from civil war. After all this, I look at myself. Some cypresses have grown on dry lines of thought. The summer, the bright nurse is with the weak boy. I keep open the last doors of poetry. We, fear, some broken rafts, some living migration in them. Cadaver. The letters are candescent now, a rain of ash on the womb of silence. The night is in flames with pine, wine, and garden. Where to place all these elements in our thorny atlas? Thank you.
Thank you, Subhro. The thing I appreciate about Subhro's work is the way in which he takes this ancient language. The word that keeps recurring in these poems is the word prachin. And he takes this ancient language and renews it. He renews the syntax and the sounds and sharpens, as it were, the Bengali language on the whetstone, often of history, not just one history, multiple histories, simultaneous histories. Thank you, Subhro, for that. A very great pleasure for me now to introduce Shumona Roy. I have the absurd feeling that I've met Shumona many times. I know her. That's because I have read her work very closely, her work as a poet, her work as a critic. I appreciate deeply the way her mind works, and we realized to our astonishment that this is really the first time we are meeting face to face, thanks to Kala Ghoda and Hope Street. So welcome, Shumona, all the way from Shiliguri. For those of you who don't know where Shiliguri is, it is, those of you who know where Darjeeling is, Shiliguri often is the spot where we stop before we go up to Darjeeling. I grew up in Darjeeling, and so I feel even more of a familial connection with the place, which I'm told is transformed beyond belief. Shumona Roy is the co-founder and co-editor of Anti-Serious magazine. She is also the non-fiction editor at the Northeast Review. Her poems, fiction, and essays have appeared in various publications such as Guernica, Asian Cha, Pratilipi, Seminar, Biblio, Open, and Himal South Asian, among others. Her first book, and this is very exciting news indeed, her first book, How I Became a Tree, which combines memoir, literary history, nature studies, spiritual philosophies, and botanical research, will be releasing this year. Congratulations, Shumona, and welcome. I'm told it's released and it's available there, so please find it and buy it.
Thank you, Ranjit, for making it possible for me to be here, and thank you to all my friends for indulging me at 5 o'clock in Mumbai. I'm going to read 3 poems, if time permits, and I find that increasingly I think of myself as a recorder of sounds. So this is an aesthetic that is new to me. It's the found aesthetic. And so the 3 poems that I'm going to read today are, the first is called Thu, and it's a sound that I found on a sea beach in Madras, now Chennai, where an old man was spitting continuously into the ocean, and that sound Thu stayed back in my ears. The second is a found object, which is the dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro. The third is a phrase that I kept on finding in the last 2 years in this new India, which I think many of us are uncomfortable with, and that phrase is "go to Pakistan." So I'll read the first poem first. It's called Spit Feast. We come to see from air to feast, to sink and stub all prepositions. Thu. We come to see for soliloquy. Thu. One speaker, one water, one love. Thu. Blood makes its own demands. Heat, flow, clot, and the need to conquer numbers. Thu. To look at the sea, to believe in it, is to know that there is nothing beyond it. Thu. We come to see to spit, to hiss without reserve, to become ululation. Thu. Here in the sea is our spit's final destination. Thu. We come to see to drown witches, those oversexed beasts that live in our winter clocks. Boredom, impatience, deadlines. Thu. To look at the waves is to discover how the sea serves tirelessness, that ancient god of love. Thu. For only love is more tireless than the sea. Like an infant playing with its legs, the sea entertains itself. Its rest is always the sand. Dare the Thu. We come to see to stop being man, for only humans spit after a feast. Thu. We come to see to be assured that our spit will reach the other. Thu. We come to see to encounter what we have feared most, the privacy of spit in our marriage. Thu. Here our feet can touch, as the roots of our lives do, without the entanglement of mouths. Thu. Our hands, our leaves, our nails remain, eager with penitence but scared to touch. Thu. And then, as sea sand soaks spit and our tongues tire of feasts, we preserve histories like dentures, the mouth's vengeance in a jar. Thu. The second poem is called Dancing Girl Mohenjo-daro, and I'll begin by quoting an archaeologist. It's Mortimer Wheeler, writing in 1973. There is her little Baluchi-style face with pouting lips and insolent look in the eye. She's about 15 years old, I should think, not more. But she stands there with bangles all the way up her arm and nothing else on. A girl, perfectly for the moment. Perfectly confident of herself and the world. There's nothing like her, I think, in the world. I think all of us have grown up looking at this girl in our school history books. So the poem begins. To imagine you dance is to cross the highway like a child, not knowing length from breadth, and then to ask the question, were you woman or child with your hand on that waist? History, like pedophilia, has a way of turning girls into women, for man is like time, impatient for chests to grow monuments. 5,000 years, 50 million textbook stares of your hand on that waist. For me in middle school, history curdling to hormone, you were Harappa. You were the city's interior, granary and the great bath. Was that the male alphabet then? That hand on that waist? Poets have had their muses, Neera, Laura, Matilde, and Bonolata. But I was only a student failing exams. And you, history's dancing hall. Dancer without feet, a patriot of dance, your hand on that waist. that thinness of limbs, the geometry of bangles, and my teenage lust, the trade and the travel, the marketplace in your shadow, the day's slap, a nudity, a civilization's topsoil, and your exams and your hand on that waist. Pendulous lips, that phrase swam in me all night, fish and worm. History, like desire, is all inside. You were its interior decorator besides. Was that desperation or disobedience, your hand on that waist? A dancer statue is a cruel irony, motion in freeze, a lie, a siege. Hair in a bun, audacious and fun, questioning John Marshall's, ha, young aboriginal notch girl, with your hand on that waist? You looked but didn't see. The museum hadn't yet wooed your eyes. Harappa was a girl with 3 pendants on her neck. We eloped, but could not escape history's racism. His hand on that waist. So the third found poem is a phrase that all of us have been subject to for the last few years. It's called Go to Pakistan. And I find that this is very similar to the way we use tu in our conversations. There was always the regret of being born after the birth of proverbs, of being an arrivist when a teacher said, too many cooks spoil the broth. For in your home was only one cook, a tired and reluctant mother de-seeding papayas. Or when your grandfather behaved like God, saying honesty is the best policy. You wanted to tell him how that adage had passed its expiry date. What silliness might have incubated that folk knowledge? What strange times. No history book tells you those. Historians don't care for the birth dates of wisdom. You've known it intuitively, how every generation gives birth to at least one. You laugh at those that fueled your parents. Aram haram hai. They owe their knee pains and life insurance policies to it. You laugh at your uncle who was nearly killed by Indira Hatao Desh Bachao. One day you suddenly notice how aphorisms are always by the anonymous, and you immediately turn into an adult. You grow anxious, you are a competitor, you want your generation's proverb to be victorious, as if wisdom were a best-selling category. You still don't understand the difference between proverbs and slogans. You can't yet see the scaffolding of history that keeps slogans alive. Proverbs are a community's heirlooms. You must measure your height against them. Your stadium sports grow shorter. Playtime the distance between home and the workplace. Your eyes feed industries and capitalism. Everything is an advert, including yourself. Your generation still hasn't found its proverb. You wonder whether it's a one-word magic. Delete? You vote like you get married. In both you are tourists. The serious leaves you aimless. Silence is too domestic, a stupor. You turn to the noise for a proverb. The clamor and the anger have scanned the statement, go to Pakistan. At first it surprises you. It's teenage parody of go to hell. Then you feel it grow inside you like a male hormone, pushing your skin, giving you pleasure. An actor says something on TV. He's only describing the shape of his fear. They give it definition. He's made a film called Ravan and Dawn. A yogi turns him into a terrorist. Go to Pakistan. Chak de India. It could be a film. The dialogue's thrown at him. He lives here, but his Atma is in Pakistan. But this Atma is not soul. It's the colloquial for ghost. Pakistan becomes a graveyard story. It's been growing through the summer, the words gathering girth. You still can't find the moral in the adage. The Bandra police beat up the Sheikh brothers and instruct, go to Pakistan. Those who are dying without beef can go to Pakistan. If Muslims want any special treatment as Muslims, they should go to Pakistan. Those opposed to Narendra Modi should go to Pakistan. If the BJP loses in Bihar, crackers will burst in Pakistan. Say Vande Mataram or go to Pakistan. Pakistan, slaughterhouse, luxury spa, language school. They become travel agents, sell that place, send them to Pakistan. Sometimes they want to break the monotony. They make it sound like Kala Pani. Ghulam Ali will sing in Delhi. They're insecure, they change the verb. Go invites its opposite. Don't you dare come here. Stay in Pakistan. And every day new partitions grow inside televisions. One day, a crow flies away with an ear of baby corn. The young greengrocer's words pursue the bird. Go to Pakistan, and you grow certain that this is how all proverbs are born. This is also a variation of a found poem in the sense that the epigraph comes from T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, and I begin with 5 lines from that poem. The poem is called The Third is a Betrayal. Who is the third who walks always beside you? When I count, there are only you and I together. But when I look up the white road, there is always another one walking beside you. But who is that on the other side of you? T.S. Eliot, The Wasteland. The poem begins. Marriage, you once said, was a comedy of manners, and only that. It's the way you rest the fork on your breakfast plate, an embalmed gesture of a lifetime, like yawning is to boredom. I disagreed again. It's the steam from the teacup, only cold will give birth to the display of heat, and so anger and vapor, now both lost lottery tickets. Not scarlet, but egg yolk yellow, the color of overdose, of gluttony, of blind lane travelogues in middle age, of adultery. There's a stranger in that word, and a train whistle. Adultery became a street lamp. My nights stayed up with them. Everything became eating, the marriage a fish. We took turns to sort out bones. The sea was elsewhere. We spoke to each other in the mirror, mediated by a third, not noticing the gaps between seeing and speaking. Marriage became a marathon as long as your attention span. The stillness of our lives, was it that you wanted to cut? Like paper kites rip the sky's calm? Water is always a surprise, hot or cold. And so a third in a marriage, child, or the shadow on the fence. Both are outsiders. Only one's shadow does not disappear with the sun. The third is a bird whose smell appears before it does, perhaps like wrinkles before old age. Once, things were not thrown. My parents' attic still has them, spades without handles, rope, rubber band, ribbon, things that tie, and broken taps. They also might sprout water someday. Their marriage was always a present wrapped for tomorrow. Now there are only epigraphs, yours from Tagore. Pain is what error is in our intellectual life, mine from the tailor. You and I are now the third, a lifetime strangers without beaks, feeding on an itinerant holy betrayal. Thank you. I have great pleasure in introducing Sampurna Chattarji, who is a poet, novelist, translator, and children's author. Her 14 books, yes, you heard that correct. Her 14 books include the novels Rupture and Land of the Well, both from HarperCollins, the poetry collections The Fried Frog and Other Funny, Foodie, Freaky, Feisty Poems, and Absent Muses, and a short story collection about Bombay, Mumbai, Dirty Love. Sampurna edited Sweeping the Front Yard, an anthology of poetry and prose by women writing in English, Malayalam, Telugu, and Urdu. She wrote her 5th poetry book, Space Gulliver, Chronicles of an Alien, during her residency at the University of Kent. Her beautiful translation of Joy Goswami's selected poems was shortlisted for the Khushwant Singh Memorial Prize for Poetry, and her magical translation of Shukumar Ray's Abul Tabul has been a puffin classic titled, how do I pronounce that? Wordy Gori Boom. Okay. Okay. I should? She asked me to read no further, so over to her.
Thank you, Shumona. It's this awkward transition, which I will hopefully make swiftly before ending the set with Priya Sharukhai Chabria's poems. I am the someday alien reading this poem with the monkey suit in it and the cry and the violin, the jungle panic, the eating prayer, the new love of you, the opening speech less worldly when you are. I am the complimentary ticket married to my opposite, the 10th page in the play where the footlights are fools on a wing. I am the paper sharing rabbit. Can I be the neglected heir, the orphaned hibiscus? Can I wear purple to the secret wedding? Can I sweeten the stomp with my beauty, take a walk forever? I am the life, just nothing. Am I? Can I? Is it? I remember all my lines except the most important one. That poem was called Whirligig, and I wrote it for Klaus Ankerson, with whom I had a short collaboration. The second one, this seems to be in order because Hope Street's Poets is as much a gathering of poets as it is a celebration of long-standing friendships and exchange of works, ideas, texts. So this was a birthday poem that I wrote for Mustansir Dalvi, who will be on in the next set. And I'm glad to see that he's in the audience. Wherever you stand turns solid, steady, strong. Quagmire or quicksand, bog or marsh, you could make it safe just by planting yourself there. Root, oak, filled with sun, growing internally, imperceptibly into another word for life. You know how to breathe, nothing shallow there. You know how to make slowness a kind of fantastic speed. So I could watch the phosphorescence of your mind light up a still unearthly ocean. You know exactly where you're going. You know just how to be where you are. I drink to your gravitas, your luminas, your ability to take the simplest thing, a roll of bread, a box of fruit, and turn it into a feast. I have feasted with you on poetry, on Mediterranean blue, on steamed mussels and fried eggs. I have survived panic on a cold Antibian night. These are incidental. What's central is you, the axis of your soul, cutting right through every latitude, turning every climate into song. This is a way of saying no. There is no sense in shaming yourself into sickness, no answering wave to see you through the degradations of another planetary motion. This is a mechanical fault. Response, my default setting of the table of contents, shining brass plates, faithful distortions, how gleamingly sweet. What will I lick off their surfaces, the steel tumblers, brimful deception, cork mats singed by a moment's inattention? This is a lunch for the louche, the lunatic, the libidinous. There is no sense in getting carried away. Last you wrote to your loved one, he answered with the picture of a goat, a kid goat cradled in his arms. This is a way of saying his language isn't mine. Return to the violins, the bead-filled gourds I have no name for. Send me again to the center of that voice. So many hours of addiction. I prowled in that garden of tombs, hot, dry, dusty. You were missing. The squirrels were hesitant, the humans loud. This is timely. There is no sense in continuing. You are drawn to warnings you can safely ignore. Your red cap, a flare in the morning. The next one's called Kindness, with the subtitle 4 Commandments and a Caution. To be kind, you must turn into a tree and live very long. Allow your roots to hang down into the air. Allow pecking and nesting and the tying of prayer strings and the dyeing of paper kites in your branches. Allow women to hug you, men to piss on you, lovers to carve their initials on your skin. You must bear every act of insult, love, or injury with the same unruffled expression. You must have a hollow inside for those who need a place to keep their secrets safe. And you must grow and grow and grow until you are a book that anyone can tear a leaf from and turn into a boat. There must not be premeditation. You cannot hunt down the proposed victims of your act. You cannot unfurl a map. There must not be a must behind your act, but there must be an act. A thought won't do. You must act kindly without premeditation or artifice or hauteur, without the consciousness of kindness. You must be spacious and natural as a meadow hidden behind a high-rise. No asbestos sheets must shut out the trespassers on your time. Every claimant must be a trespasser, and you must be guilty of love. You must understand kindness, not confuse it with courtesy or charity, self-righteousness or vanity. You must see kindness for what it is, abstract until committed, pure, unseeable surge of interior light. You must leave it naked, not clothe it in your cast-offs, nor seal it in a box. You must face its terrible demands. Watch the face it puts on in a crowd. You must accept that it is mute and eloquent and unarmed. Having seen its defenselessness in the face of greed, you must make your body its armor. You must not reserve it only for the stranger. You must let a gnarled and familiar hand take it between her claws and clasp it tight as if squeezing blood or honey from a stone. You must remember, it is not an art, not poetry or stand-up comedy, open mic or rap. It's a series of can'ts. Can't be hyperlinked, can't be video installed, exhibited, animated, projected or auctioned for brutal sums of cash. You can, but you mustn't construct it with your consummate incandescent skill. You mustn't turn it into an artifact best seen in a certain light in a heat-controlled corollary where the priceless things are stored. It is priceless, yes, but for all the inflammable reasons. Neither edgy, nor immoral, nor decadent, modern, nor postmodern, neither colonial, nor post-colonial, neither Marxist, nor feminist, neither consumerist, nor capitalist. All it is unlearnable, expressible, impossible, doable, each time a different animal, alive and muscular and warm. You must beware. Kindness may be mistaken for pity, may be rudely rebuffed, an old man refusing a stranger's umbrella out of pride. Suspicion, what does she really want? Fear, you might pinch the lady's purse as you help her dodge the cars. Prepare, you might be punished. There may be tears, extortions, retractions, accusations. Who does she think she is, Mother Teresa? All the world's ignominy may be yours. How then will you keep the kindness growing? You won't. You'll break. You'll stutter, retreat. You won't, you must, you may, you will return with another bowl filled to the brim, and you will wait for another passerby to give you the grace of receiving, and so repay your debt. The next poem is ostensibly about packing. I'm packing poems into my loot case, the one by Louise Gluck, where she said exactly what I meant to but didn't, until the night I found her book beside your bed. The one by Adrian Rich, in which she made me see a door frame is no more than that, a fact. The one by Marina to Mayakovsky, all its words forgotten as I pack blue lips and hanging rope and starveling child, all of it into my head. I'm packing cliffs and ancient mariners, swifts and basket weavers, rag and bone shops and tyrants, falconers and patients. I'm packing dogs and darknesses echoing. I'm even packing a trick with a knife I'm learning to do. Spells and sonnets, questions of travel and unfinished odes to mud. I'm packing all just and true. Jibonanondo's grass, Basho's frog, Shokti's funeral procession, Joy's pavian dance, all of Hampstead Heath folded into the size of an afternoon. In other words, I'm packing poets too, and places where they walked and wrote and sat. I'm packing Ranaghat Station and Rilke. I'm packing Wayside Inn and Kolatkar. I'm packing Britannia Cafe and Horniman Circle. I'm packing Prague. I'm packing the aboutness and whereness. I'm packing the thisness and thatness into the small widening lockness of my life. I get away with it always. They check in my bags and forget to weigh my mind. And I'll end with a poem called The Paradox Box. The paradox box is flipping out as usual. And you're keeping your head as usual. That's where it all comes together. Wouldn't do to lose it. The double helix is hiccuping. It happens to the best of us. That's a puzzling phrase. Who are the best? Who's us? The jukebox is telling stories in a beer bar in South Bombay. Feed it 50 rupee coins. Don't mind the loops. In time, your story will come. Your story. Never averse to slipping sideways. Your mind, strange attractor, magnetizing. Blue paper. Very small coffee cups filled with very strong coffee, bicycle, graffiti, river. Train timings, such things are not unheard of. It's taken its time to grow. 3 years to be exact. Slowness has been its a sap. It might be a vine and not a tree. Find it a staff to twine around. In story, your time will come. Bearing giants and pinwheels, sycamores and shibboleths, it will be mythic. No one will write it down. Lingering in the greenhouse, a tactician's move. Who knows if this poem will need glass to shelter it from the cold? Will need heat to keep its tropical heart beating, will need a bright artificial sun. Take it, transplant it where you will. It's yours. Thank you. And now I'd like to call upon Priya Sarukai Chhabria, a favorite at Kala Ghoda. Many talented woman. We know that she's written books which are speculative fiction, cross-genre, non-fiction, 1 novel, 2 poetry collections. It does seem more than that. Most recently, very interestingly, along with the poet Ravi Shankar, she has translated the work of the Tamil mystic poet Andal. And the book called Andal, The Autobiography of a Goddess, has been nominated for the 2007 Pushcart Prize. Congratulations, Priya. Awarded for outstanding contribution to literature by the Indian government. She has presented her work around the world. Her work is included in international anthologies, translated into 6 languages, and she also edits poetry at Sangam House and a beautiful website where all of us have found homes at one point or the other. Welcome, Priya, to Hope Street.
Thank you, Sampurna, for that very nice introduction. And thank you, all of you, and Ranjit. Thank you. I'm going to be reading a couple of poems from different series. Most of it is new, but the first one I've read before, and it's called Memory. And, we construct ourselves in many ways through many relationships, and our fondness for possessions, certain possessions we've grown up with, things we've known from childhood which speak to us mutely but deeply in our hearts. But what if these possessions are taken away from you? Then what remains? And what do you make of the memories that you hold of these objects? Memory. Do memories change when what's remembered is no longer owned? Do your footsteps disappear from these frames of time, scent fade? Are you dead before you're dead? Are these feelings your own or taken over? Are you a rose of water climbing on thorns of glass? Are you lighter for being dispossessed? Lighter but hate-clogged? Is hate a light emotion? Have your bones dissolved? Is this an explosion in a vacuum? Is the explosion dark? Do you remember your mother? Are the eyelids of memory peacock blue? Do these turn beige when its eyes are looted? Can you hold its jelly in your hands? Is memory like smoke, suddenly sighted in a sunbeam, coils materializing before your eyes, or like a contrail glimpsed as it fades? How often have you cupped a wounded memory, then put it to sleep? Does memory live in a translucent chrysalis while morphing within? Are empty chrysalises homes of memories that have fled? Do you collect these? Whose memories are you retaining? Yours or someone else's? Will anyone retain memory of you? If you sleep on the stone you've made of your heart, will your memories too sleep? Can the heart remember without the senses? Can you detonate from the memory of things and still be you? Isn't premonition memory of the future? Didn't Rilke say writers have a blurred memory of things they do not know? Is there a way to cross into glow? Is this wanderlust? Are you a museum of invisible things? Are you made up of people you no longer are? Daughter, sister, granddaughter? Can we heal without memory? Can we live without healing? Do I have the potential to be a fakir? Say yes. Thank you. These are very new. I haven't read them before. publicly. They're called Home Unhomed. And I had a series of dreams that were very strong and startling, but always silent. You know, in dreams you often speak, but these are completely silent. And these images were like symbols from an unknown country which wafted out of me. So I decided to document these images in my poems. 1. You cannot drown in the lake. It yawns and lulls against tegument and pulse. Your womb cradles its contours. Sun dapples chase the lake's face. Shooting stars plunge incense to its depths. A cobalt wind blows from end to end, dropping eyes of fire on its course. Moonlight shivers on waves of peacock feather. Dive in and you float, embryo in a sack. You gaze through lilac lids as your mouth quivers with syllables of song. A serpent sleeps like a bow in your hand. Lotus bud arrows pillow your head. You're born, you're getting on, but a pale, wrinkled stem still connects you to your mother. 2. Murmurings. Murmurings from the lake within, wild with lotuses that releases mauve scent as egrets alight on sparkle. Suddenly, the sediment convulses. A cloud of birdsong takes flight amid half-remembered cries. Stem, weed, flower, leaf color disappear. It dries, but your feet are stuck in its bed of cracks as the glare grows and grows, and its story won't stop. 3. Earth's slow arc blows goldenness to the wind. Across desert sands, the trail of footprints smokes, vanishes. In the oasis, Narcissus leans over the lake that turns crimson at his glance. Wraith-like shadows fall from clear skies. A lone bush holds a song in its thorns. 4. This is the last of this series. Oh, my sisters, don't follow the path that opened before me, where rancor steeped till it stopped every step. Oh, my sisters, cut anchor, soar as the waters of memory close beneath you, drowning the one you were before. Oh, my sisters, warriors, pilgrims, cleave your path to the heart's perfumed cave. Thank you. And now, from the inner journey to the outside, we travel for various reasons, sometimes to get over loss, sometimes just for the beauty of it. And I've found myself in Myanmar, in Bagan, which is called the Field of Merit. As you know, this is full of Buddhist sculptures. They're memorials to their ancestors, their near ancestors, parents, uncles. And everywhere you look, there are these unfinished pagodas, rising, though they look a little like pagodas. So, this is Bagan, Field of Merit. Night sky. We live under stars we do not see. daybreak. Weaverwords flit from hanging nests to call over water and lotus pollen. We hang between each reflection. The rest passes. Mornings, afternoons, evenings drive your restless heart day after day after day through mud roads and dust, waiting for sunset to end this monotonous splendor. The scattered pollen of thousands of pagodas rise like palms pressed together as far as the eye can see. While departing, you realize the earth has raised itself up in prayer. Do I have one more? Okay. So this one which I'm reading is a translation I'm doing of the 9th century Tamil mystic called Manikavachikar. And his name literally translates as whose words are rubies. Now, what we do know about the 9th century, as a matter of fact, or about medieval bhakti poetry, is that these poets sang not from some calm, isolated background, but in the midst of a lot of strife and religious wars. The Shaivites were killing the Vaishnavites, the Buddhists were being pushed out into the forests, the Jainas were being pushed into the caves, and it is against this bloody and violent background that the medieval bhakti poets sang. And Manikavachikar sang to Shiva, a god who is both austere and grand, wild and uncontainable, who nevertheless contains all of time. And this is from Manikavachikar's creation hymns. And when I read it, I was blown by his vision and his scale. So Manikavachikar, creation hymns. Wobbling spheres round into the elemental cosmos, immeasurable, wonder beyond wonders, this cosmos. Here our planet floats. Impossible to sing these world's profuse beauties. Try this for scale. Earth in its disk of stars, a dust mote, dancing among million more in a shaft of light that falls through the window of your home, the sunbeam Shiva. Thank you.